Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from peakofserenity.com here with another video on Hungering Destroyer, just to kind of go back through, add a little bit of more information, as well as maybe some other things that I've learned since the last time I made this video. So feel free to check out the other one as well, just in case there's something that I said in one video but not the other. But we'll talk a little bit about ways to play Hungering Destroyer, things you can do to maybe get that little bit of extra damage or survivability. You can check out the description below where there's information about my UI, ways to support me through Patreon and PayPal, links to the website and the Discord, and other things. So give that a look, and let's dive right down to it. All right, so Mythic Hungering Destroyer is a purely single target fight. There's a lot of magic damage as well as phases without where you can't target the boss. So to get directly into it, the first thing is talent choices. I'll hold off of this for now. Tiger's Lust, most useful. Level 30, because of the time during consume where you're not going to attack the boss, Ascension can be a little bit more useful because it gives you just that extra cushion, extra resources you can pool during that time. Fist of the White Tiger, though, remains just kind of the default. Good Karma is useful here, although not as useful because if you have the Miasma debuff, you won't be healing yourself by normal means. So that's not really a big deal, but there's nothing to use Ring of Peace or Tiger Tail Sweep on. Diffuse magic is essential for staying alive. There's a lot of magic damage, as I said, so it's very important to keep yourself alive through that. And using diffuse magic allows you to alternate karma and diffuse, making things very easy. So next, last, we'll skip to this. Whirling Dragon Punch, again, the go-to for all fights. Hit combo versus Dance of Chi-Ji is interesting because hit combo, it's a single target fight, so hit combo is generally the recommendation. However, you do ideally want to be able to maintain it at 6 stacks during the consume, which might be a little bit more difficult. So I would recommend, if you're going to use hit combo, to use Chi Wave. It gives you another ability to help keep your hit combo up. You can alternate hit combo, or you can alternate Chi Wave and Expel Harm indefinitely and never break your mastery, never run out of resources, anything like that. So Chi Wave and Expel Harm are very useful to do that. If you're not comfortable doing that, if you feel like it's too much, Dance of Chi-Ji is fine, at which point you can switch to Eye of the Tiger. Provides a little bit more self-healing, but again, it's a fight where there really is not a lot of self-healing. So even using Chi Burst to help heal other people is a reasonable option. As far as Covenant stuff, it's a single target fight. You'll want to use your single target Covenants. So you'll either you'll prioritize using Coordinated Offensive, and then if you're okay with switching, you'll want to use Strike with Clarity, assuming you're Kyrian, or other things. You can check out the chart in Discord, where I talk about what conduits you should use. Depending on the fight. But it is entirely a single target fight, so keep that in mind when choosing your conduits. Ideally, like I said, you're Kyrian, so you can use Coordinated Offensive and Strike with Clarity for maximum single target damage. Certainly, if you're going to use Dance of Chi-Ji, then if you still have calculated strikes on from Altamore, that's fine too. It's not going to dramatically change, but it just kind of lowers the theoretical maximum that you can hit. So as you'll see, we have 4 things set up. This is where we stand. We're split into groups based on the groups we're at in Raid. And that helps us to control the miasma, so the people with the miasma will move to their kind of designated spot. The fight comes, you pop Bloodlust, you can open fully on the boss, go as hard as you can. You'll want to avoid getting hit by these beams that pop out, as well as avoid having your stacks come too high from helping to clear the miasma people. It really shouldn't be too much of a problem. Your healers should be able to help manage that relatively easily. But again, purely single target. You'll go as hard as you can. As you see, I got Star here. I moved over to Star. You can, when this comes out, let's go back a second. Right, so when Expunge comes out, this is where you want to use Touch of Karma but Touch of Karma or Diffuse Magic. Expunge comes out every 45 seconds, roughly. So for the first Expunge, you can use Touch of Karma in order to get a little bit of that healing back and return that onto the boss. Then the next expunge, you'll see I'll use Diffuse Magic. Using Touch of Karma and Diffuse Magic, or Diffuse Magic, allows you also to soak your orb, so you don't have to do a lot of moving around. You can stay on the boss for a little bit more uptime. Here, my healing was just at the mercy of my allies. Miasma ended, and I was able to go back. There's not much else. Try and keep yourself alive. You can theoretically time, delay expel harm a little bit for after something like Desolate to help you heal yourself up. Here's the next expunge. You'll see me pop Diffuse Magic, as well as eat the orb, all before it comes out, and take very little damage, which is very useful. If you have this debuff, the Miasma debuff, you will want to be conscious of what your health is if you're going to do that, just because you're not going to be getting heals otherwise. So you don't want to soak your orb as well if it's going to kill you because you can't get hit with the Miasma. This was Consume. You want to run away. This is where, you might have to, if you're using hit combo, Expel Harm, Flying Serpent Kick, stuff like that to keep your hit combo going. It's not a very long period of time, but it is something to be aware of. And I used my Skulker's Wing there, and that almost got me killed because I was almost in the line of the damaging lines. But yeah, other than that, it's really entirely a single target kind of tank and spank fight, rinse and repeat, nothing too complicated, really nothing that you're going to do a ton to improve. What I did here, and this was the mistake that I made, was I delayed my abilities too long. You can, because of when Consume comes out, roughly every minute 30, I think, you want to use things intelligently so that you're not left without so you're not left to using your abilities when Consume is about to come up. So had I used it earlier, Consume wouldn't line up with my abilities, but I used it about 30 seconds before Consume here, which means that this Consume will be okay, but the Consume after this will line up with my cooldowns, which is just kind of a big feels bad. But again, there was that. This one was Diffuse Magic, keep myself alive, help reduce some of the damage that I take, as well as help minimize this or maximize the space that we have. Get a beam, move out a little bit, stuff like that. You can use Transcendence and stuff like that to keep yourself going, but it's not as big of a deal. You see the Consume, charge back in, or Flying Serpent Kick back in, or roll, whatever you got to do. And then it's right back into a single target encounter. So what you'll see is, and I pointed out the mistake that I made, Weapons of Order and Zuen have 56 seconds, 57 seconds, and Consume over here is a minute 14, which means they'll come up before the next Consume, and then if I were to use them, it'll get eaten up by the Consume. Had I used them on cooldown, it wouldn't have been a problem. But you'll see how it's a problem shortly. So again, just come in and out, help keep your people healed, whatever. This is very likely what your strategy is going to be, or a very similar strategy. Pop Touch of Karma, get a little bit of extra damage. You see I did have Miasma there, and Karma does not eat everything plus the orb. So that's something to be conscious of, because again, you're not really going to be able to get topped up with your heals as easily if you have the Miasma. So just be a little bit wary of doing that. But it is something that you can do if your health is at a reasonable level. Right, so you see the Consume is coming up in 20 seconds, and here comes Zuen and Weapons of Order. So ideally I would have popped them earlier so that this wouldn't be a problem. I'd be able to pop these on cooldown right here, and we'd be good to go. And I would have popped them with time before Consume. So you'll see I'll hold them until after this, but this is something that you're going to want to just be conscious of depending on how quickly you kill the boss. Now, when we go in there, we don't get this Consume, so it's not a big deal. I don't have to worry too much about holding on to things for damage and stuff like that. So you see I hold on to this, and I can use all my cooldowns here, go into my Weapons of Order and Zuen window and whatnot, and continue from there. So it's all something that comes, if we were very close here and say the boss was dying here, then I wouldn't have been able to hold on to it. I would have lost uptime. So that's something that you need to be conscious of when going through your boss fights, when looking at what your timings are going to be. Your DPS group better than I can. I can only make general recommendations as best I can. So Not much else to the fight other than that. That's kind of the one big time that you can kind of screw yourself out of some damage. Other than that, Windwalker has pretty solid tricks to help avoid taking unnecessary damage, as well as helping to manage the mechanics of the fight. So hopefully this fight was educational, was informative. Yeah, I died there. My teammates didn't come to heal me. But hopefully they come to heal you when it's your turn to get miasma. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was informative. Check out the description below for information about how to get my UI, my weak ores, whatever, how to support me through Patreon and PayPal. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, have a good night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are.